Welcome to the Drunken Guardian podcast. Our show focuses on gaming while we drink. Every episode, we have a featured cocktail on our show description so everyone can try something new every week. Now, this show is more for adults. We do share our thoughts with no filters or censors. We also post videos on gaming news, cocktail recipes, game reviews, and more. We also stream on both YouTube and Twitch. For any questions or thoughts on a topic we touched on, send an email and we may even feature it on the show. All info is in our show description. Remember to drink responsibly and enjoy the show. Today's episode, we're going to keep it simple with the always popular Old Fashioned as our featured cocktail, and we talk about our thoughts and impressions of the Xbox Series S and X price and the release date news. Don't forget, all social media and cocktail information is in our show description. Subscribe and follow so you can get all of our content every week. Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. Today we got Jay, and welcome back Randy again.
Hello.
Yo.
Big news this week. Not much news of anything else, but there was big news on the Microsoft side of things. They finally announced the Xbox Series X pricing and the release date, as well as the Xbox Series S, which is like a cheaper version of the system. So first thing I would like to actually mention before we even talk about the Xbox Series X is, what did you guys think of how the S looks?
I don't like it.
Again, it looks like a sound system.
Yeah,
not even like an actual console.
A speaker.
Yeah, right.
Boombox with a missing speaker. Oh man, I don't know what Microsoft is thinking with the look on it, and it's like, I think it's like a third smaller in size.
I mean, compared to like the monolith over there, yeah, it does look like a portion of it.
Oh, you mean like the computer tower, the Alienware computer tower for the Series X?
That shit's straight out of fucking 2001.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very attractive, but I don't know what they were thinking of. I'm guessing that's that's an actual vent or something, right? I guess they just needed to add more ventilation to it because they used a smaller casing.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little more compact.
Looks like it. In the breakdown, you could see like the big ass fan that's supposed to be where the subwoofer is.
Oh, where the little vent is at?
Yeah,
that's where it is. Okay, so that makes sense then. I guess they don't want it to overheat. We don't want any more red rings, that's for sure.
Oh,
the whole thing just turns red.
The whole skin. All right. So now, aside from the opinions on that, because we already know it's ugly, there's a lot of memes, by the way, on that stuff. If you want to look them up, it's hilarious.
When the PS5 was announced.
Yeah.
My favorite has to be the Seto Kaiba one.
For the PS5. With the collars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that one. The pricing for the S is $300, which is like ridiculously cheap. It's amazing, but with a few caveats, of course. What do you guys think of the pricing?
Looking at it now, honestly, it does kind of make sense if it's going to be digital only, because the disk drive is obviously taking a lot more space in the X, but if you're going to be paying for the games like digitally, then I don't think it should cost as much. But then again, it's gonna be the same price as physical copies, so maybe it doesn't make that much sense.
Yeah, the S version is just a significantly weaker version of the X. Sorry, it's literally half of what.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's not
GPU.
And the GPU is a third. The GPU is a third of its power.
It's not even even if it had a disk drive, it wouldn't matter. It's all about the performance of it.
Third of the size, third of the power. Fucking wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, I don't know what they're thinking. Like, okay, I can understand you're trying to make an affordable version. So here's where they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with this stuff. So it's like the system itself, the S anyways, is all digital. So you obviously need to get a decent internet connection in order to download these digital games, right? Mm-hmm. And it's only going to be digital games. And yet you make it a smaller hard drive because these games are going to be huge. So the hard drive itself is half a terabyte. It's half the amount of the Series X. Yeah. So why would you make, and mind you, I understand also because solid state hard drives are hella expensive. So like, I understand that if you're cutting down the size in half to reduce the cost. But if it's all digital, it's gonna take up a lot of space. So you could have like 3 or 4 games at the most on it, because the operating system is gonna take a lot of space as well, along with any maybe apps that you might download onto the system.
So technically, you have like 300 gigs, if anything.
Yeah,
This is kind of a way for them to sell their their card, their little memory card that they have.
right. I forgot all about that actually.
Yeah.
How big are those cards?
They're 1 terabyte, so like you'd have to buy multiples if you're getting the S. If your mind is set on the S, you're gonna be swapping memory cards like this is olden days.
So the memory cards themselves though are basically mini hard drives.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like
you can buy 1 or 2, and I guess you'll be okay. But that's it, again, it's still more money that you're spending. So you're spending 300 plus those memory cards.
exactly.
Honestly, either way, they make up for the price difference. Like those $200, like you're going to spend that right away on either. If you don't buy the memory cards, you're going to buy another external hard drive for sure.
Yeah.
And chances are they're going to come out with not just the memory cards, but also their own fucking hard drives. They're like, oh, on the box it's going to say perfect for Xbox Series X or S or whatever the case. So if you don't think it's better to get the X and spend the $500, you're still going to fucking lose out like by getting the S.
Yeah, so you're still gonna spend $500. You might as well just shell out the $500 for the actual X. So again, like Microsoft is still shooting themselves in the foot, because they're selling a cheaper system that doesn't really work. Because you have to buy other stuff in order to actually measure up. And then on top of that, let's say, all right, fine, I wanna spend $300 on a system and spend the $200 later on the hard drives or whatever else I want to get. I still
You still have a significantly underpowered machine.
exactly. So it's still underpowered when I could have just waited for me to turn up the extra $200 and then buy the Series X. So yeah, sorry, I'm venting about it. Like, I'm not a Microsoft hater, I swear. I'm not a Microsoft hater. Like, they do some good stuff, they do some good games. It's just that, like, right now, PlayStation is kicking their ass.
Yeah, and their mentality behind this is not that good. I mean, if it's a ploy to sell more X's, then sure, I guess, cool. Because at that point, like, all the reports are going to say that the Xbox Series X is selling, completely forgetting about the S.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point too. It could be a marketing tactic.
That's pretty ballsy.
Well, I mean, if you hear more, if you hear more about like one console doing better than the other, everyone's going to focus on that. No one's going to pay attention to the fucking S anymore. If it's just, oh, the X sells this many copies because of whatever the fuck. It's much better. Well, throwing much better in quotes now. It's much better for them in the sense that it'll definitely put that in the spotlight.
I guess, I mean, it's a good point. When was the last time we heard about the Xbox One S?
True.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they came out. It just came and went, like, an all digital system. And I think it was white also when they released it. And I don't know if it sold well, because you never heard from it afterwards.
Probably didn't.
Because the all digital thing is not going to really catch on that well. People may get it just because, like, say if they're traveling a lot, they have an all digital thing and they have the games downloaded already. Cool. You leave your base console at home with the disc drive, you take your digital one wherever you're going. But on the other hand, it's like, that's a situational thing. Like, not everybody and their mother's not going out to get an all digital console just so they can bring it around with them.
Convenient, yes. Practical,
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that being said, the Series X, what do you guys think of the pricing for it now? $500, $499 if you want to be exact.
That price is good. I didn't say it's a decent price for what it's like what it's packing. So
yeah.
Like they're shelling out a shit ton of like money on their end to make all this stuff. I'd say it's decent. Like 6 would have been killing themselves at that point. Like 6 is no. That's the red zone. You don't want to do 6 anymore.
Like, if it was like, oh, now if it was like 550, that would have just been like okay, but anything over would have been way too much. Exactly. Hence the like you wouldn't want to, but if it's like, all right, you know what, fuck it, you get more than you do for the S, so why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. I think 500 is a good sweet spot for that I think 600 would be like PTSD moments for when the PS3 released, and I literally, like, when I bought the PS3 on launch date, and knowing how expensive it was, and I had spent my tax money for it, so I spent $1,000 because I bought the system plus another controller plus I think it was maybe 2 or 3 games on launch date. So yeah, that was a lot of money. God, that was a lot of money.
Damn, it was rough. It was rough back then to be a gamer.
Yeah. It's not too bad. What do you think of? So for those people who can't afford to shell out 500 on the spot, or even 300 for that matter on the spot, especially with everything going on right now, people losing jobs and going on unemployment. Some people even can't even receive the unemployment. They have pricing plans for both systems. What do you guys think of the pricing plans?
It's cool. It's good. Like it is very efficient. It helps other people who can't really afford it day one full price. Mm-hmm. But on the other end of that, like, so are they going to be doing like credit checks this, that, and the third? Because you're not just going to be like, here, take an Xbox Series X for $34, and you may or may not pay.
Yeah,
and I doubt they're gonna lock you out of your console. Like, and if they do that, it's gonna be a whole nother like Xbox One issue again, where it's like the privacy thing.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I don't know. Do they have the capability to just lock a specific console out?
Probably. Who knows? But the manpower behind that, just to like always keep like monitoring people. Just to make sure that, all right, this person paid. Let me make sure he's good. So I think that it's going to be the whole credit check thing and all of that. And again, with the whole economy being kind of like wonky right now, not everybody's credit going to be up there to do the 34 a month.
Yeah, they said we could start doing pre-orders in September 22nd.
Yeah.
We didn't mention the pricing itself. So like if you wanted to get the Series S, would be $24.99 a month with no upfront cost. This is coming from the news.xbox.com. And then the Series X would be $34.99 for 24 months. And then, I mean, it's not too bad of a deal if you can actually get approved for this, if a credit check is needed.
Yeah.
Because you get, what is this, 24 months of Game Pass Ultimate. So you basically get like their not only can you play online, but you could also play from their streaming games, like all the games that they have to offer on their servers, which isn't too bad.
I mean, I'll be pre-ordering mine when it comes up. We'll see if there's like a deposit, because apparently I know in some places, I don't know exactly where, I think it was EB Games, people were talking about you have to put down a deposit, like a $200 deposit if you wanted to pre-order it.
Yeah, some places used to do that. I guess that it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Xbox is not doing a pre-order so you can have the chance to pre-order. Pre-ordering so you could pre-order, which is what the PlayStation is doing right now. This whole thing is different. Did you hear about that?
No, actually, I didn't.
It's like a sign up thing, but they haven't really put any like that much information. It's like, sign up for like a chance to pre-order. And I'm like, you got to give more information than that, because then it's like people are gonna take what you just wrote there and run all over the place with it.
Yeah, this is the internet.
Yeah, I still don't know exactly what that means. Like, so you're gonna check like what type of gamer I am, like if I'm hardcore gamer or if I'm like a scrub. You're gonna be like, all right, cool. Like he got the pass, so definitely send him an email.
How many times have I been suspended?
What does it happen? What happens if like they catch wind that like some people that are pre-ordering, like they're like huge streamers or like huge professional gamers? Like, are they gonna get
priority
dibs?
I thought about that too.
Fucking likely.
I hope not, because I thought about that the other day and I kind of pissed myself off thinking about that. Because I'm like, because I'm not up there, I'm not gonna get a console. They won't do that. I honestly feel like the whole thing was just to see how many people are interested, just to like fuel the ego type of thing. You know, like how all these other companies do it. But I feel like at the end of the day, that thing is not gonna matter. They're still gonna send out emails to whoever bunch of people, like everyone who owns a PlayStation at this point.
Probably. They could just inflate the numbers for pre-orders, so they could build the hype a little bit more.
And not to sound like I'm going to shit on Xbox or anything, but that whole giving it to like the streamers first and whatnot, that does sound like a very Xbox kind of thing. Because with everything that's like kind of showing up now, because okay, the S is half the specs of the X, right? $200 less, and then you have all these like kind of accessories to increase your storage. But then also with the whole pricing of like paying per month for the S, it's $24.99. For the X, it's $34.99. So it's like $10 more, and you get the console.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's kind of like pushing more towards like the X. So with that, it's like, oh, the attention won't be on the S at all. Give it lower numbers, and yeah, sure, a lower price. But if you give a better out for getting the better console, people are going to go for that.
Yeah, I can see that happening. They're really going to push more of the X than the S. The S is the redheaded stepchild who's just there to kind of make the other one look good. Yeah.
Watch. Get ready for Twitch to have Ninja with the Xbox Series X.
Before we get to the next question, so I wanted to go through the specs a little bit in detail, just so people can get an idea of like the differences. Just like simple things. I'm not going through the whole stuff, but the Xbox Series X is 12 teraflops. Xbox Series S, 4 teraflops. So that's where the third comes in. You got RAM for the Series X, 16 gigs, versus the 10 gigs for the Series S. Now this one here is the big one for me, which is why I would never even think about getting the S. Series X, 4K 60 frames per second, up to 120, whereas the Series S is only 1440p at 60 frames.
You might as well play on PC.
120. Yeah.
PC will look far better than that shit.
Of course, there's a hard drive as well. So you got 512 on the S, you got 1 terabyte on the Series X. So and that's another big seller for me. So it's X all the way for me. I guess it's X all the way for you guys as well.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why you would get the S, especially if you could just put an extra $10 on a monthly payment and get the X and just do it that way.
Exactly. If you're already approved for it, you might as well go
all the fucking way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that is coming on November 10th, both systems. Finally, we got some information. So, with that,
are we too happy about it? It's like, okay, we got it. And now what?
And that was the thing that I was worried about. We kind of spoke about it before in previous episodes. It's just like, they've waited so long to release this information, and now it's just like, fucking finally, okay. Now what? Like, nobody's really hyped anymore because we were just waiting for just way too long. It's kind of like being stood up on a date. You kind of just sitting there, not really stood up, but like the date is late. You sitting there and you're waiting and you finally show up and like, oh, all right, finally.
I guess we're gonna eat now.
Yeah, I guess we can eat now. So the Xbox stuff, we got all that said and done. Now, when it comes to the PS5, we still have no information. Do you guys think that they would match the price or undercut them? What do you guys are predictions now?
I feel like it may be an undercut, probably by like $50, maybe. Some people are saying more. Like some people are like going to $350. I'm like, that's no. Relax.
They would lose out so much on that.
I'm like, relax, $350 again. That's what we were talking about like earlier in the day about how cheap people are. That's too low. Like at most they'll drop down will be like $100 less.
And even then, that's kind of a stretch. Like $50 would be the sweet spot. That's like just a fucking power play right there. Because at fucking $450, perfect. Already, everything that they're like doing is pretty much like selling the PlayStation more than the Xbox. And again, 50 would be perfect. 100 would be a little too much. And even if they match the price, it's still going to be, don't want to sound like that guy, but it would be like the superior console.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because the PS5, you know, and I will admit this, you know, the Xbox is very, very slightly more powerful than the PS5, but they're minuscule differences. They're basically, you know, neglectful, and the all digital version that they're gonna have as well. Like I would assume they would probably do the same thing. Like they would sell it for like $250-$300, so that way they're more competitive with that stuff, because they are slightly, because of the fact the PS5 is slightly less powerful, gives them a little bit more of that wiggle room in order to discount $50 to $100 off the price.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening either way.
I just like can't wait for people to start comparing the price to the S instead of the X, because you know that as much as, you know, we have like good communities and bad communities, there's always going to be that one person fucking crying about it.
Yeah.
Oh, why couldn't it be $300 like the S and the digital one like $150? Like, whoa, hold on.
$150. Yeah, just let it be free. It'll make it a whole lot better.
That's what people are going to overlook. They're going to overlook the fact that it's the weaker version of the Xbox.
Mm-hmm. So they're just going to look at the price. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's also, see, and that's the thing too. Like I always try to look at things as well in the business perspective. Like you if you want to sell a system so cheap, you know, you have to consider how much of a loss are you willing to take.
Yeah.
For example, like the I think it was the Wii or the Wii U. They actually sold it cheaper than the actual manufacturing cost. So they actually ate the loss for every system that was sold. But they made it up. Yeah, but they no, it might not have been the Wii U, only because the Wii U wasn't very successful. It may have been the Wii or may have been the Switch, because they made up their money through their games. They made a shit ton of money because of the games. So because they made the system so cheap and affordable, it gave more reason to for those gamers to put that money into the actual games themselves, the actual software. And of course, Nintendo owns almost all their property, almost all their games. You know, all their stuff is mostly first party, so they made their money back,
which was good, especially during holiday season.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it was the Wii actually.
It was the Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wii U did not do good. It did not sell well, so they would have lost money and probably would have never recouped from that. I was kind of worried actually when the Wii U came out. I was just like, oh shit, I hope this is not another company that dies out like Sega did.
Sega, that would suck. Even though I don't play Mario or anything. Like, where the hell would those games go?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Metroid right now.
What's that?
But yeah, the PlayStation 5, they could afford to make it a little bit cheaper. They have a shit ton more first party games, that's for sure. So they can make up their money in their software rather than their hardware. But yeah, the PS5 is gonna have quite a few first party games. They're not really clear as to how many of them are going to be launched, but I hope it's a good handful, because they all look good. They all look like something worth buying. Yeah. You know, including Dark Souls. So hopefully, Demon Souls. So hopefully, that's a release, a launch title.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank is launched, so I'm pretty hyped for that. I haven't played Ratchet and Clank in a minute.
Me neither, and that looked amazing.
I'm so sad that they retconned it though.
What did they retcon?
The entire story. Every single PlayStation 2 game that has nothing to do with the story anymore. Yeah, because they were making the movie, the game had to like change up everything. So the re-release, well, the remake, that's where the story starts now.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. So the fan favorites like Up Your Arsenal. No longer.
Don't exist. Oh, no. That's.
I mean, the characters still came back, like Quark and all them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Oh no, of course. It's just that they just changed the entire story. Like the characters are the same, but anything that you had worked up to is just gone. Mm. So now, like what they did was that they kind of had to like rush everything in the game in order to kind of like make room for the movie.
I see. Well, I mean, I guess this is a good way to start over with their character development throughout the new game, kind of like just starting over.
Yeah, the PS2 version, by the time you got to like the last game in the series, like you were already some freaking badass. And
that's the thing. No, and that's the thing with the new Ratchet and Clank actually. they have too many cop outs for like his kind of character development, where like really early into the game where he's not even like a hero for that very long, he's kind of like already giving himself like too much shit for things that he technically shouldn't be responsible for. And then it's like, oh no, don't feel bad, we fixed it. Like, for example, they were gonna destroy this entire planet, and he was, you know, obviously giving himself a lot of grief for it. But then it turns out that like just seconds before the planet blew up, everyone was evacuated. So then he's like, oh, okay, never mind, all's good. Okay. Like there's no actual like sense of Ratchet becoming who he was, like over the course of all those games, because there were quite a few of them, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that it's a bad game, but the story is just like the writing is a bit too rushed, if anything.
Yeah, I can understand. They kind of shot themselves in the foot after that whole movie debacle came out, because it didn't do that well. I'm still waiting for, like, you know, if they're gonna do a whole Ratchet and Clank renewal for, you know, the series, I'm waiting for freaking Jack and Daxter.
Oh shit!
They were kind of going like the GTA route, like in the last ones. Like you can kind of like jump on any vehicles and stuff and just ride around.
Yeah.
And
that started with Jack 2, right?
Yeah,
yes,
that's the angsty teen era.
Yeah,
with the Dark Eco and Dark Jack. That's when everyone was on their brooding shit.
That was the emo era.
Oh yeah.
So that is everything for today, guys. We just wanted to get that off of our chest about the whole Xbox news, what we thought about the Series X, the Series S, and any predictions about the PS5. So I guess we'll see. I'm hoping they'll release something soon within the next week or two, I would assume, now that the cat's out the bag. And I think, Jay, were you saying, I think it was you who was telling me that their anniversary is coming up soon, the Sony PlayStation?
Yeah, that was on the 9th, the 25th anniversary of PlayStation.
Oh, so that was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was yesterday. Yeah, today's the 10th, so yesterday was the 9th. That's well, they didn't announce anything, that's for sure. So hopefully in the next week or so.
Hopefully tomorrow.
They're keeping us on our toes.
Huh?
They're keeping us on our toes.
Yeah. Just wait.
They had already stated that like they weren't just gonna randomly throw it out there. Like just
so you
random.
Think they'll do like an event or like a streaming thing and finally do it?
Yeah,
they're not gonna just come out of the blue. Yeah,
they're probably gonna like, if they do come out of the blue and say it, we'll probably just get a day and price and like when we can pre-order it, which is fine. Like give us a heads up to when we can pre-order it, like Xbox did.
Yeah.
And that'll be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
But don't do what Xbox did with the Series S.
God, please no. Yeah. All right, so that's it. So, I mean, if PlayStation does release any news, we'll try to meet up and we could do another episode. We can inform everybody else about it. That'll be all for today. Thank you guys for joining us. Jay, yet again, streaming wise, where can they find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/jbiggs08.
And Randy, you're back with us finally. It's been so long.
It was just one episode.
Yeah. So yeah, you usually moderate J Biggs' streaming, so you guys can find him over there as well.
Yep, you can find me at twitch.tv/jbiggs08.
Damn right. We'll see you guys next episode.
See you
later.
Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Those are all of our biggest focuses on the podcast. Subscribe and follow so that we can keep up with everything. And we would love to hear from you all. So please send us an email and let us know what you think of everything. I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you very much.